All right, a little breezy today. You're gonna hear some breeze or some noise on your video a little bit. Could have a little more knee flex at the start. I think your posture really looks pretty good though. Really can't complain too much about your posture. I think we're looking all right there. Backswing looks pretty good too. I think your club is on a very, very good plane right now. You know,
Okay.
It goes up over your shoulder. It kind of went up through your hands, over your shoulder. Looks good, not too far back. I think it's on a great swing plane, and you know what we're always looking at there is how well your club sort of stays in relation to that line,
Okay.
but also in relation to the wedge, I would like to say. So you'll see here, your club's going to go up the bottom line, maybe up through the middle. You push your hands away ever so slightly right there.
Okay.
So you're a little bit on the outside, but look at this right here. I mean, it's just beautiful. Right up through the middle of the plane. Top of the backswing still very much inside the plane. Downswing still very much inside, all the way to the golf ball. Then the follow through, same thing. Looks great. I mean, from this angle, hard to complain. Maybe you could have a little more knee flex, but for the most part, I think your clubs should do. So the reason the ball I think pushes to the right is a little bit of sometimes this shoulder wants to come across, maybe a little bit too level.
Okay.
And what that can do is cause your right side to want to work a little underneath.
Okay.
And if you're out running the club, you know, like as we just saw with your hips, you know, it's not terrible here. You'll see this one in just a moment. I like the one I videotaped where you really felt like you stayed on top of the ball a little better. Because that one you didn't hit very well. But if we look at your setup to the top, you're almost a little too far over here and a little too flat.
Okay.
Just a little there. I'd like to see your head stay more on top of the ball and maybe not be quite so far to the right. It's always good to have body tilt this way, but not from too much movement over there, I guess. You know, we always want to be a little to the right side, but to the right leg in the backswing. But I think you may be just a little bit too far off the ball. We may even put the K-Vest on here in a minute.
Okay.
Take some more info. Now this last, you staying a little bit more on top of the ball here. I think you'll see this. I think your head's a little more steady. Maybe even widen your stance a fraction.
Okay.
So I think your head's a little more steady. Right there. It doesn't have to be perfectly still, but it's a little more steady, and you stay a little more tilted. And I think from there, we can stay in that posture better. You had mentioned that early on that you were trying to still feel a really good posture coming through the ball. So here's the setup, and here's the top. Pretty good right there. You know, maybe a good look at this. Sean O'Hare. Okay. Almost looks like he's turned into that foot right there, isn't it? But you notice how that shoulder comes kind of back and underneath his chin?
Yes.
Right there, and his head stays on top of the ball. Then from there, you can go ahead and just open it right up. You know, great look at Aaron Baddeley, same thing. Now, it's kind of interesting. This is Aaron Baddeley before he went to stack and tilt. Okay, I think this is a great golf swing. I think this swing he makes right here is just awesome. Very, very steady, and then he opens his body back up. So you can move, you know, you can pretty much move that way all you want.
Right.
But, you know, a little more steady going back, I think. And you can see what it looks like there. That was a great move. I'm not sure why he went away from this. He's gone back away from stack and tilt now, from what I hear. He was swinging like this, then he went to stack and tilt, and now he's swinging, which I think is this. He was, you know, very, very quiet with the lower body, almost leaning this way a little bit. That was kind of their idea. But I like what he looks like here.
Okay.
So once you feel like that, once you feel a little more on top of the golf ball, and then go ahead and open up the body a little more coming through.
Let me hit a few more.
Sure, let's hit a few. I want to point this out to you real quick. This is your impact position. As we said, you're on a great plane coming down, right?
Right.
Now look at your impact position right here. Okay, you had mentioned hips aren't open enough. What I'm looking at is look how much of your left arm we can see.
Okay.
Okay. Now, again, if we go along, I know some of these comparisons aren't very fair. I use them just for reference mostly. Here's Davis Love. Look at how his left arm is actually visible under his right.
Okay.
And his upper back is pointed more left. Your upper back is aimed to the right.
Okay.
So we're going to try to open up your upper body a little more too. Because I think a lot of that push comes from you're just really closed up a lot when you get to the golf ball. Definitely a little more difference here. Okay. Now we still see this arm a little bit out showing,
Okay.
kind of like we do here. But the biggest key is your upper body is aimed over here, and here your upper body is straighter. Okay. It's difficult to see that, but it actually is because the club is not so far behind you. If you look at the picture on the right,
Yeah.
I mean the left rather,
Yeah.
your shoulders look like your shoulders over here look like they're looking off camera. Here they look like they're straight away.
Okay.
The upper body does. And the
Okay.
ball's taking off a little better now. We're starting to square it up more too.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot more finish to it as well. See how much more you've kind of come around?
Yeah.
A little lower follow through even. A little more turn. This foot's over a little more. I know we're driver versus 7-iron.
Right.
But I just think that when you turn through better, we see a lot better release. Arms a little bit more extended on their own. You didn't have to make them do it.
Right.
It just kind of did it on its own. So I think the more we can get there, and I still want to watch this a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Let's look at that from the front second. I want to make sure that as you come down, that you keep that leg a little more flat. See how straightened out that left leg
Yeah.
is? That front leg sort of points at the ball, and then it just goes backwards. And that's more of a lifting and not a rotating.
Okay.
And we have talked about that, staying in your posture. So we want you to kind of stay in your posture a little bit going back. And when I talked about early on to open it up, we're going to open it up more with the sternum and not so much the hips.
Okay.
Okay? Try to keep that a little more flexible. Certainly want to stay in the posture and then really get yourself where you feel like your upper body is facing the target more at impact. This is a great comparison. So we'll start off with what we started with, right on the left. Okay? You can even see the heel back here is up a little bit, both heels. Up off the ground some. Upper body kind of pointed to the right. Now we improve with that over here. Okay? This foot's up a little more. I see more belt loops. Don't see as much of your belt loop over here on the left. So we're getting a little bit more turn. Okay? This is the swing just a moment ago. Okay? A little bit more. A little bit more straight away. Compared to even where we started.
Okay.
Right there, which is good. Okay. More belt loops. I'm starting to see a second belt loop now at impact. Closing up the gap of the arms a little bit more. Shoulders up here definitely aimed straighter.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is the practice move. Here. Isn't that nice looking? That's the difference right there.
Yeah.
You know what? This is gap closed, left arm disappearing, even looking down the range. In other words, in this practice move, your shoulders are so much more open than you're used to.
Okay.
Your head is actually turning with it.
Okay.
And that's okay. We're just making a practice move. But what you did here, I thought looked good. I recorded 2 of them. This one looked pretty good as well. Look at that right there. Your left arm is going away.
Okay.
That looks great. So even if this looks, similar to this, it's obviously better. But this part looks great. The upper body's getting out of the way, and that's what's making the ball take off a little straighter.
Okay.
It's got the ball. And this one was on the heel, you can see.
Yeah.
Quite a bit right there on the net. But the ball's taking off right down your line. And over here, we were getting them started out to the right. There just wasn't any body turn, no upper body turn at all there.
Okay.
So it's hard for your arms to get squared up. So, we still want you to stay kind of in place. We don't want you to move way off the golf ball because that can encourage you to block to the right. You've got to stay on top of the ball a little bit better and then really, really feel like you open up some. And
Okay.
that's the biggest key, I think, here. Because this right here just looks, especially here, just looks so much better, especially right in there. See how much more open your body is?
Right.
Tilted. Your left shoulder is coming around out of the way
Right.
because your sternum is now rotated. Over here, your left shoulder looks like it's having a hard time coming
Yeah.
through because it's like
Just
you're
kind
still
of
facing the ball.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit more. These are good.